Hello, hello. Good evening, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. Curry Cup is back. It is finally back. It's been a long time actually since we've seen Curry Cup, especially a long time since we've seen the Lions in the Curry Cup. But after a couple of weeks of disruption and K's been cancelled for various reasons, stuff like that, we are finally back. We are at Ellis Park today. Well, we're not, but the Curry Cup is at Ellis Park today. It is the Lions taking on the Griquas. Kickoff is in just 6 minutes' time. Should be quite an interesting game, actually. I think, the Griquas are coming off a victory, actually, against the Western Province the last time they ran out in the Curry Cup. And for the Lions, well, the last time they were out and playing rugby was against the British National Lions. And we know that it didn't end particularly well. So, I think that it'll be both teams trying to sort of put in quite a good display today. But I think it's very important that the Sigma Lions, as they are now being called in the Curry Cup, they need to respond, and we need to see something, don't we? We've just got to see something from these Lions players, with the United Rugby Championship coming up and stuff like that. It's for me, it's all sort of one eye on the United Rugby Championship. I'm not to say that I don't really care about the Curry Cup at all, but I just think that for me, I think given all the disruption stuff with the Curry Cup and stuff like that, if we're going to be very honest with ourselves, it's probably not a Curry Cup we're going to remember for too many years ahead. And I think, to a certain degree, the integrity of the competition has kind of been compromised a little bit. So it's not been a great situation if we're being brutally honest. It's not going to be a Curry Cup, which I think will be particularly reflective of exactly what we could have seen. But one thing I will say, I've been saying a lot of my previews, is if we're being brutally honest, when these games have gone ahead and we've actually had the rugby, they've been some cracking fixtures. We've seen the Pumas beating the Lions with a bonus point. We've seen the Griquas upsetting the Western Province. So when we've had the games, they've been really, really good. Which is why it's such a pity that we haven't had more games. Because it really has been a very good watch when we've actually had games going ahead. So yeah, position I've determined kickoff. I think it was supposed to be 2:30. I think it's been moved back a little bit. So yeah, I'll just stay with you now. We'll go through the teams in just a bit. And talk about exactly sort of the players to watch. 2 players on Curry Cup debut today for the Lions. A player and a new signing as well on display for the Sigma Lions, which will be quite interesting. In the lock forward position, which I think is a position we do need players, whether it's the type of quality that we need, I suppose we'll have to wait and see when he takes the field and stuff like that. It is FB Pulsar who is the new signing I'm referring to. But I just think it's very frustrating that, the Lions are a side who have been so, if you look at the last sort of 5 years, was so good. And we seem to be onto something special. And, since then, they've kind of sort of let things slip a little bit without sort of adding, too much quality and stuff like that. So it's been quite frustrating from sort of that sort of perspective. But, what can you do, I suppose, as a supporter, apart from just hope that things get better? I think that, I'm not going to say I'm complaining about any of the new signings because, I'd like to give everybody a chance. But at the end of the day, when you've got the Sharks who are bringing, Bongi Manambi and Siya Khaleesi and bringing back Lionel Cornier and Cameron Wright and players with that sort of quality, and then you've got the Lions who are bringing in I think of the Lions signings of the last couple of months, a lot picking up a lot of the Bulls players who didn't quite sort of make it, something like Divan Rousseau, for example. Now FP Pulsar, who was previously a Griquas player, now coming back. It's not quite blockbuster, is it, at the end of the day? So I think that's where the frustrating is, because are we going to be able to compete with the best sides, across the United Rugby Championship with the type of players we're bringing in? And I'm not convinced we can. We haven't replaced Malcolm Marx. We haven't replaced Franco Master. We've got some very, very excited youngsters, and I'm willing to see how they can go. But until we bring back that sort of star quality to a certain degree, we're just not going to compete. We can't compete. How can you compete? How can you compete with, star-studded international sort of laden sides when you just don't have those sort of players? If you bring Malcolm Marx, Franco Mostert, and a Johan van Rensburg back to that side, it turns the side on its head. But at the moment, we've got so many players who are sort of sitting at 21, 22 years old, 23 years old, or else they're on the other end of the spectrum and are sitting sort of like 35, 36 years old. We don't have too many players who I think are in their prime, or too many players who are sort of the top tier quality that are in their prime. But I'm excited to see how Jordan Henderson goes today. I think he's a very, very promising player. Hopefully, the heir to sort of Alton Yankees is thrown at the Lions. Should be interesting to see how he gets on. We've also got Johnny Lombard, who hopefully will be coming back from injury. But if we look at the sides today, we'll start with the home side. So starting through 1 through to 15, Edwin for Hume continues to be at number 15. He's not a bad player, but he just doesn't have a lot of pace. But very good to see Stian Pienaar is back and starting in the number 14 jumper. The two rings today are Stian Pienaar and Ras Makwana. Manuel Ras and Birger Oudendal are the centre pairing today. Jordan Henderson, the number 10 jumper. Morne van den Berg at number 9. Frankie Horn will captain the side at 8th man. Sibasiso Sangweni in the number 7. And MJ Pulser comes back at the side. No Ben Chuka. He's currently out with a shoulder injury. So MJ Pulser starts at number 6, which is why Sangweni is shifted to the other side of the scrum. Reynard North Narkel and Ruben Schoeman are the two locks. Yanni Duplessis, Jakob Asaki, and Steve Satoli is the front row. On the bench today, we have got PJ Buerta, Ruan Drela, and Carlu Sardi. So it's a very good front row coming off the bench. FP Pulser, the new signing for the Lions. He will be coming off the bench today, as will Travis Gordon, who will be making his Currie Cup debut. Very, very talented youngster. Andrew Warner is back from a cheekbone injury when he broke his cheekbone, so he'll be the number 21. Fred Zelling and Duncan Matthews will cover the rest of the back line. For the Griquas, the visitors today. And number 15 is Ashton Davids, who I thought looked pretty good when he came on against the Western Province a couple of weeks ago in that upset defeat. Then you've got Daniel Casenda and Edwin Cater bringing a lot of pace and very good finishing to the side. JC Null, the former Bulls centre there with Jonathan Frankie. George Whitehead, who's been pretty good so far in the Currie Cup, is with Stefan Angura in the halfback combination. Ruan Steenkamp, the former junior Bulls player, captains the side, Harnu Sturgill, and Gideon van der Merwe, the ever-present Gideon van der Merwe, who's electric over the ball. Very, very good player. Hard to keep him out of the game. The lock combination is a very solid one of Cameron Lindsay and RJ Smith, and the front row today for the Griquas is Jana Buerta, Janko Ace, and Mox Nkoli. Off the bench for the men from Kimberley, it's AJ Lewis, Andrew Beerwinkel, as well as Andries Skitter. Two players who've gone to quite a lot about in the last sort of year is the likes of Zwanele Zito and Sibabola Koma. Regan Oranje, Tinus de Beer, and Edris Arensa are the backline replacements for the Griquas. But with just a couple of minutes to go until kickoff, let me know what your score predictions are. What do you think? Where's this game going? What do you reckon is going to happen in the game and stuff like that? Give your score predictions down there as now. Waiting for kickoff at the moment. Should be underway very shortly. Lions players about to come on. Right, so Peter Blicknote's going Lions 52, Griquas 22, a high-scoring game. Well, let's hope that we see that. Actually, that'll be quite cool to see. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Sorry, I've actually just realized I've got an issue with my TV. Super Sports, you're making my life a mess. Right, we do have kickoff. Sorry about that. I just had to change the channel quickly. So we've got kickoff here, and it's the only mistake. It looks like Morne van den Berg, and the Griquas are through. Gideon van der Merwe is through. Goodness me. Well, we're 22 seconds in. I haven't even started the clock. I haven't even managed to settle myself down. And the Griquas are over. It's Gideon van der Merwe. It looks like a blooming terrible start from the Lions. I don't quite know what happened there. I barely sat down. Oh my goodness, what a start. What a terrible start. So Morne van den Berg goes to Yanni Duplessis, who gets tackled. He's about to make the pop pass. The ball goes through, loose, and it's Gideon van der Merwe. Well, he's always in the game. He's got a knack for scoring, doesn't he? pounces on it, picks it up and walks through, and George Whitehead adds the extras, and we're not even a minute, well, now we're a minute in, and it's 7-0. Whew, nearly catch my breath. I just had to run to the lounge and sort the TV out. Wow, that's a horrible way to start the game, isn't it? Fine. Okay, right, well, the Lions will now have to come in from behind to try and win this game. But yeah, Stanley Robson says 30 points to 15 for the Lions, or just Lions by 15. I think it's a fair shout. Ross Edelman says 29-35. Right, so the Lions with the restart. So I'll take out the air there from RJ Smith. But I think he's turned badly. It is available. It's a knock-on is the call here from Rasta Wenger. So we'll have a first scrum of the day. Du Plessis, they're trying to atone for his early mistake, forcing that knock-on there. So we'll have a first scrum of the day. Well, it's a nice position for a scrum for the Lions. I mean, it's just before the 22. Plenty of options to, attacking-wise, you know. I mean, we've got Moore van den Berg, who's a live-wire scrum half. So, I mean, look out for the pickup and go from him. Jordan Hendricks said today on Currie Cup debut, the fly half. He's a very exciting player. Very keen to see how he goes today. Probably want to see more from the Lions centres. You know, I don't think we've seen enough from Manny Russ lately. I mean, he's getting a bit of a chance now, and it's a last chance to prove himself, because I think from the weekend we'll want to see the Similani back in the mix. Burger Udendal, I thought was trying pretty hard during that British and Irish Lions game, but I must admit I was pretty annoyed with his support play when he was saying Granny made that dart, and just nobody was there with him. But here we go, first set. It's a big scrum from the Lions, and it's a penalty advantage there, and it's a penalty given from Rasta Wenger. A huge scrum from the Joburg outfit. That's the perfect start for them. And Jordan Hendricks, I reckon, will just knock this out, and we'll go for the points here. Yep, that is the plan. So it's a nice start there. So it's early pressure for the Griquas back row. Having a terrible day at the moment. Right, but let's settle in. I'll end the poll. So we've all had our vote and decided who we think is going to win today, and it looks like it's a resounding one-sided vote where... Oh, and he's got kicked into touch. He's kicked it dead. Jordan Hendricks. So how do you do that? Jordan Hendricks has kicked it dead, which means it'll be a 22 for the Griquas as well. This is just a horrible start from the Lions. Every single time it's something good, they do something bad just to counteract it. So it'll be a Griquas 22. Not good stuff so far. George Whitehead going deep, and it's Jordan Henderson, the man who just made the mistake back there. Right, Burger Udendal. He's a bit of space. Eventually brought down. It kicks up and goes. Still going. It's a nice run by Burger Udendal. Gets up to the halfway line. Quick ball, Moore van den Berg. Viljoen there at first receiver. Manny Russ going to Ras Patwana. Cutting inside. He gets away from two. Oh, then he runs into the big man, Skitter. Sort of carry there by right on North Knuckle. Right, Hendricks, what's he going to do? He goes to Burger Udendal. Oh, trying to go with the ball inside. Hendricks is wrapping around, trying to clean up. He gets away from two. It's a nice solid leg drive from him. RJ Smith over there trying to win it, but there was an advantage. So it's a knock-on advantage, and we'll go back for the scrum. Bit of a messy start here so far. It's not been fantastic. I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't say we've been treated to a spectacle so far. So I mean, what is everybody's thoughts on the Currie Cup? I mean, apart from the fact that it's been so disrupted and stuff like that. So the final poll results was Lions 75%. You think the Lions will win? What do we think of the Currie Cup so far? I think, you know, the competition itself, the integrity's probably been compromised. I think with so many cancelled games. I think the Sharks have had 3 cancelled games, which is not great. Thankfully, it is a double round tournament, so I mean that makes it quite a few games that could still be played. But as I said, I think when we have had the games, I think they've been really, really well contested. I think they've been very close. We've seen some very good results. We've seen some nice upsets from the smaller teams. And that's going to go straight down. And it's Yanni du Plessis has been penalised. So Yanni du Plessis is having an absolute mare at the moment. Firstly, George Whitehead did disappoint to the polls. They're going to have to kick a goal here, the Griquas. And the Lions just discipline costing them early. A mistake on the first sort of seconds... cost out by by Yanni Duplessis. Then he tried to redeem himself with forcing a knock on. And since then, it's just Jordan Henderson kicking it out on the full, and then looking promising and getting a scrum and Yanni Duplessis going down. So it's just been a horrible start. So George Whitehead will have a chance now for the kicking tee to try and go 3 points clear. Well, add 3 points to the 7 points. He's uppering an 87% kick success rate at the moment, George White. He's got 20 or 23 this season. That's quite solid from him. Struck it well. It's looking good, but it'll go off to the left, I think. Yeah, doesn't had the distance there, but not quite the direction. So the flag stayed down, and the Lions get away with that. But Yanni Duplessis needs to start coming together here. Verbal Soul reckons it's going to be a draw. I'll be very surprised if we see a draw. Right, so Jordan Hendricks has got quite a heavily strapped right knee. Goes quite deep, and it's bounced just inside. So a bit of a mistake there from the Griquas. That's actually quite a nice territory finder there for Hendricks. It lands just inside the field. And Yanka Ace reckoning was going to go and touch. Let it go. Not good start, but that's what happens when I don't play in a long time. Yeah, I mean, it's just a bit of rustiness, I think. These players, shame. I mean, I think from the sounds of it, they were so keen to go and play the Cheetahs on the weekend, and that match got cancelled. So it's been a while since they've been able to get onto the park, and probably a bit of a come down after sort of the intensity and all sort of eyes forward on the British and Irish Lions game. They've now had that game, and now sort of need to come back and focus down. Chip over the top from George Whitehead. Very well. Oh, it was almost well read by EW for you, but it's been one back, and I think it's... They've gone to the right here, had Griquas and Stephen Ungaro, who's stolen it all the way to the side. Ashton Davids, who comes inside, pops it to Ungaro, who then brings the clear from Merva. Griquas almost up to the 22. Once again, the Lions just not doing anything right at the moment. But they've won a penalty there. It's Jakob Asaki who's come to the party and jumped over that. I mean, EW for you in there looked like he'd read it well and then fumbled it ahead, but the Lions just haven't pitched up so far. Almost 8 minutes, and it's just been mistake after mistake. Sigma Connected is the sponsor. I'd never ever heard of Sigma before they announced them as the title sponsor. I don't know if anybody else had. Maybe it's just me, but I didn't know who they were. All right, well, Jordan Henderson not taking any chances with that one. Goes straight into touch on the halfway line. Yeah, it's a nice one in the ground there from Jakob. So, I mean, jeepers, Hendricks found about 2 meters with that kick. So it'll be a Lions put in on the 10 on their 10 meter. First line out of the Lions. They go, oh, that's messy as well. Well taken in the end by Ruben Schoolman. It almost looked like he got open, but here comes the first rolling maul of the day. Getting a bit of momentum here. Looks like it's got some good shape here. There we go. They're broken away a little bit. Still going are the Lions. Still going. They went to the Griquas half now, and they're still going. They don't have a lot of space. The hand out there's for an advantage, and Morning Vandenberg can bring in the backline to go. It's Birger Oendal, Jordan Henderson wrapping around. Henderson now trying to put in a grabber in between. Stian Pienaar is tearing after, but he'll run into touch. Will go back for the penalty. Much better from the Lions. Solid more. They must have won a good sort of 50 meters. I mean, the penalty's inside the Griquas half, which when you think they could start it on the Lions 10 meter, shows you about the dominance there. So that's a bit better. Right, so Jordan Henderson has gone for the line again. So, I mean, with that rolling more, the closer we can get, the more that can become a bit of a try-scoring avenue. Be interested to sort of see how the Lions use their squad going into the United Rugby Championship, because you'll have Elton Yankees back, your first choice number 10. You've got Jordan Henderson, who you really want to try and give game time to you. But Johnny Lombard, was always supposed to be, the heir to Alton's throne at number 10. But now, with Jordan Henderson sort of forcing his way, you start putting in Johnny Lombard at full back. That's a horrible line out. Birger Oendal's read it well and kicked it ahead, but Unger is there to clean up. And it's another mistake. That's a horrible pass to Ashton Davids. He goes back inside to Ungara, who eventually will kick it into touch. This is just messy. Morning Vandenberg, it's a very nice touch finder by Ungara. All the way up to the 10 meter. I mean, really, it's a horrible line out to win. Not even, I mean, it's just so poor at the moment. Going to the back of the Lions. It's another messy line win, but it is won back by MJ Pulsar. Line out's just a disaster so far for the Lions. They've lost. That's what. Two they've won. Two they've won, but Messi. Now Yakabasaki down the blind side. Doesn't have a lot of space. Managed to keep himself. Quick ball here from Morley Vandenberg. He goes to Ruben Skuman. So it's the captain actually, Frankie Horn. This time it's Ruben Skuman. Always makes a few yards, Ruben Skuman. Right, Jordan Hendrickson goes to Money Russ. Money Russ decides to go himself. Gets away from one, gets away from two. He's still going as Money Russ. Nice carry from him. Morley Vandenberg this time going to North Narkle. He's got Hendrickson around him. He brings in Berger Udendal. It's a nice covering tackle there. I think it's by Ruan Steenkamp, the Griquas captain. Into the 22 are the Lions. North Narkle now. That's a very nice run. Gets inside of Cameron Lindsay. Space out wide. Handle it, hands. McLaren comes back inside. A lot of space out there on the blind side. North Narkle. Oh, that's a nice inside ball to Steve Satoli. This is much better from the Lions. Slick handling so far. They're going. What about going down the blind side? This time they go Jordan Hendrickson. EW for Yun down the middle, stepping around, is driven back slightly. You don't have a scrum off, so Frankie Horn will probably pick up and go. I reckon if you look at the numbers there. Yep, pick up and go. Get Morley Vandenberg, Archer. Another pick up and go, this time on Yanni Duplessis. The slow ball there. Steve Satolia is having a bit of a rough time, but we're going to our 11th phase here for the Lions. Much better continuity. Some slick handling there from the men from Joburg as well. Couple of pickups and goes. They're just sort of losing a lot of space down the left there, so we'll probably have to work our way back right. They do on Ruben Skuman. That's a nice pickup and go. Kenny van der Merwe is all over that. But eventually gets taken away, so it'll be another pickup and drive on Yanni Duplessis. They've got the numbers on the outside. They're going wide. Can they get it over this time? It's available. Around North Narkle's waiting for a bit of reinforcements. A couple of players getting up to come and help. 15th phase. You're going to have to go out wide yet, chaps. You've got a backline. Now use it. Nope, you're going on Ruben Skuman this time. Ooh, he's almost over, but he's been held up. He's been driven back. It's a nice defense by the Griquas. Oi, you've got a backline. Use the damn thing. All right, here we go. Well, no, it's another pickup and drive on Yanni Duplessis this time. Chaps, it's not all the ball spilled back, and they've kicked it ahead. I've told you, stop using the pickup and goes. It wasn't going anywhere. Oh, goodness me. And the Griquas have balls popped off the back of Yanni Duplessis. Everything Yanni Duplessis is involved with at the moment just stops working. And the Griquas have absorbed all that pressure, and now Boots come in and kick them all the way back, and the Lions will have to restart right by the halfway line. Just try use the back line. I mean, goodness me. What is the point of having the likes of Berger Urden, Ras McLaren, Stian Pienaar? You're just not going to use them. I mean, we had 15 phases, and we couldn't get over. You can just try bringing the back line once. Nemo versus draw 0-0. Fixed. Right, so Zito's on the field. It's a blood bin from the looks of it. And it's RJ Smith who's left the field. So Zito will get a few minutes here. I mean, after some really nice slick offloading by the Lions, the Lions keep it really, really tight. And it just wasn't really going anywhere. Some very, very impressive defense by the Griquas who really did sort of front up. But I really would have liked to have seen them try and use... now it's a penalty for Morley Vandenberg being offside. And they're just giving 10 meters to the Griquas. I mean, really? I mean, 15 minutes in, and the Lions have been nowhere so far. Absolutely nowhere. Just pull on Morley Vandenberg. Keeps forward ahead. Clearly offside. Going for the points here are the Griquas. So George White will have a chance to try and redeem himself. Missed out earlier with his kick. Had the distance, didn't quite have the direction though. He is kicking at altitude, so the ball goes a long way up here. And once again, he's pulled it to the left. Has George Whitehead. So the Lions getting away with 2 penalties there. It could have been 13-0. And just need to sort things out. It's very sloppy at the moment. Right, Hendrickson last time had a favourable bounce where Janke Ace watched to go over his head and found a nice touch finally. He goes a little bit far more infield this time. George Whitehead has asked for a couple of people to chase up and under. Going nice and high. Who's going to be underneath? It looks like it'll be Ewan. Skips away from the first player. Ball float away to Jordan Hendrickson, who's wrapped up by JC Nell. Oh, it's a mess. It's messy. It's messy. The Griquas have come through there. Just looks like the Lions just late to the races at the moment. Been a messy encounter so far the first 17 minutes. The Lions, a couple of just silly mistakes. Silly mistakes. Now we're going to shape for the box kick here from Morty Vandenberg. Ask for a blocker and Yanni Duplessis. Ashton Davids. It's a very good chase there, but it's a very good take by Ashton Davids, who's almost through. George Whitehead now. This is good running here. Frankie dabs it ahead. Edwin Cato runs it into touch. It's a nice little dab ahead. It'll be a defensive line check for the Lions. Deep inside the 22. Frankie trying to bring in Edwin Cato. Very nice take out the air by Ashton Davids. Very, very good testable kick there from Morty Vandenberg, but it was a really good challenge in the air. As I said, I thought Ashton Davids looked very good for the Griquas when he came out against Western Province a couple of weeks ago. Interesting to sort of see him make that switch there to full back. But the Lions lineup, which hasn't been great, is going to have to operate well here. Go to Ruan Schoolman. That's a much better win. Jakob Asaki. That'll be MJ Pulser. He'll carry it up. Morty Vandenberg, I reckon, once again will probably go to the boot. Jordan Hendrickson. Didn't look like the best clearance. He's got a big boot as Jordan Hendrickson. That's actually not a bad clearance. Up to the sort of the 10-meter line. Much better from the Lions. Decent exit play there. Ken Wright says, will the Lions win? Well, I hope so. And not if they're going to continue playing like they have at the moment. But if they can sort their nonsense out, then hopefully should be able to get a victory, yeah? The conference call you have from the Griquas players deciding what they're going to do from the line out. Go to the front of the line to Griquas. Versus Jonathan Frankie. He's a big unit. Solid carry from him at the inside centre. Quick ball for Ungra. Now Whitehead going deep to Edwin Cato, who's been wrapping around. Solid tackle by Rasmus Kleiner. Front foot ball here from the Griquas. Ooh, they're almost up to the 22. That's a very good run there. I think it's a real stick. Ooh, inside ball. JC Nell. JC Nell's got away from one. He's brought down eventually by Manny Russ. Still the Griquas at the moment. They're well inside the 22, almost up to the 5-meter. They're going to George Whitehead. He goes to Ashton Davids, who goes to Frankie. You go to Edwin Cato. Oh, and he's fumbled into touch. He's getting in front of Merva. If Merva had taken that, I reckon he was probably over. There's a penalty here for the Griquas. I think it was for offside. It'll be interesting to see if they go for points again, or they reckon they're going to, with the momentum, they want to keep it going. I reckon we'll have the Tia back on here, and we'll take this is the easiest 3 they've had all time. Yeah, so they're gonna go for the 3 points here. Are the Griquas and the Lions? Ugh, just basics, really basics. Yeah, I mean, if with Gideon van der Merwe, I mean, it was the pass was fine. It just takes his eyes off it. If he'd taken that, it was Gideon van der Merwe versus Morley van den Berg for the try line. So I mean, I would have backed Gideon van der Merwe in that situation. But they will take the 3 points here for the penalty. So this should be pretty straightforward for Tim Whitehead. Well, TPC is taking his time for this is a very, very straightforward kick. Does go through the 2 poles. 10-0 at the moment, and into the 21st minute here. A very, very slow start here from the Lions, and the Griquas are just living off the Lions' mistakes. You know, the Lions are really sort of allowing them to get into the game. Yeah, it was nice work off the back of the line out from the Griquas. Good to see Edwin Cater coming into things. Nice inside ball to Ashton Davids. Very solid run by JC Null. Jordan Henschel, it's quite contestable, but Zito's up nicely. Trying to go for the maul. Maul is called Jeff from Rasta. Not too much go forward ball yet from the Griquas though. Van der Merwe peels off the back. Oh, he tries to get the ball out to Edwin Cater and rolls out into touch. So we'll have a Lions attacking line out here just before the 22. Nice opportunity for them to try and get back into this game. Time is off. You've got a player down here. I think it's a Griquas player. Holiday Smith's back. Zito has gone back to the bench. Lewis's line got themselves to blame for playing so poor. They must go back to basics or else they'll lose badly. 100%. It's just it's been very messy at the moment, you know. Has to change his shirt, does he, to Smith? GHB says, I'm honestly pretty scared for the Lions coming United Rugby Championship, seeing as they have to face the likes of Leinster and Munster. Well, we need players. We need players. You can't be signing, no offense to, I mean, we haven't seen FP Pulsar, but, you know, player from the Griquas going overseas to play for the Seattle Sunwolves, you know, and that's sort of like one of the signings you're making, you know, whereas the Sharks are preparing by bringing in Bongi Manambi and Siya Khaleesi. The Bulls are preparing by bringing in Johan Gers and Jacques Duplessis, you know, all those sort of players. It's chalk and cheese. When are we going to start making some proper big signings? So it's a better lineup here from the Lions. The ball wasn't going anywhere, so they will use the back line. It's a bad pop at the back for Burger Odendaal. So Jordan Hensch is under a little bit of pressure, has to clean himself. He slips as well, which doesn't help anything. So under pressure. It's available from Morley van den Berg. Goes to North Nachel. Burger Odendaal's kick goes straight into things, so all they've done is given possession straight back to the Griquas. Just keep the ball in hands, people. Whitehead sees a bit of space, and behind his chips over the top, so it's Morley van den Berg who cleans up. He's going to run himself, yeah. He's gotten away from Stefan Angerer. He loses his footing as Van den Berg, so if Yoon goes back, it's a horrible pass back to Jordan Hensch. This is like watching a blooming club rugby at the moment. Hensch's kick won't find touch. Once again, George Whitehead's asking for an up and under, so he's asking for a couple of chasers. Goes up hard. The contest is a contest, and it's a penalty for the Griquas for holding on the ground. It's Gideon van der Merwe who's won that turnover. Doc and Horror, Yanni Duplessis involved, is having a bit of a mare at the moment, but it's just so poor at the moment. You know, can't keep hold of possession. You know, just poor passes. It looks like a side that hasn't played in 2 weeks. But you know, neither has the Griquas, so there's no excuses there. It's MJ Pulsar. Gideon van der Merwe is over it quickly. No, it's just not great on the ground. Peter Bliffner says Lions are good players. They need a proper coach. Yeah, I mean they've got some good players, but it's a very, very inexperienced squad. It's not quite the quality that Johan Ackerman and Swayze de Bray. Look, I know a lot of people say that they made those players, but I mean I think it's difficult to judge Ivan van Rooyen given the fact that it's been so disruptive in terms of the players. I mean, just for example, like Malcolm Marx leaving that last year, Tyron Green leaving last year. Quagga Smith not coming back. You know, these are major players which should have stayed. I think make a massive difference to the side. We've seen some good moments from this team. I think there are some very talented players and very good potentials. As George Whitehead lines up for another 3-pointer. Comes off the post to the right. So Whitehead's having a horrible time with the kicking tee. I mean, this could be 19-0 at the moment. George Whitehead brought his kicking boots. But you've got to ask yourself, are you going to be able to go up and take on teams with lots of international players, you know, with the team that the Lions have? And I think the answer is no. I mean, look at inside centre. After Burger Undal, you've got Dan Creel, who's never really sort of stepped up. Outside centre depth, you've got Mani Russ, who has had very limited opportunity. It's not quite the same. If you're looking at the Sharks backline. There you got Yao Penkler, who's just been released from the box squad. That's their reserve wing. They're going for a drop goal there, was the Griquas. I think it was Whitehead. Mate, stop it. You've missed 3 penalties, and now you're going for a drop goal, which has gone short. But the Sharks have got, you know, Fez and Box is going to be their second choice hooker. James Fenter and, you know, Percy Buthelezi might not even make the final 23. That's the kind of quality the Sharks have got at the moment. Even the Stormers, you know, if they can keep Peter's depth 20, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to. But there's so much more quality at the other unions. D kick, and once again, up and under here, Ruan Steenkamp is after it. And it bounces out from Morne van den Berg. It's not clean from the lines, but he does make up for things. He's still going as Morne van den Berg. And that is off his feet, it's from Ruan Steenkamp, so he could see the penalty. So, I mean, the Lions were 72% possession and trailing by 10 points. And I think if George Whitehead nailed those kicks, probably all of them pretty straightforward. They could have been 19-0 at the moment. Ultimate Shot is the decision making by the Lions is so poor. Why they're not playing their natural all-out attack game? It's just the basics which have been so poor at the moment. You know, it just feels lethargic. I think is probably the best word I can feel. It feels like we're playing on a Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and they're just sort of not really there. It doesn't quite have the same intensity as a Saturday 5 o'clock prime time sort of game. But they've got themselves up to the 22 here, so another attacking opportunity off the line out. Could be 90. Look at that drop goal over. It could be 22-0. So they really need to get back into this game to the Lions and just sort of keep things a little bit simple. Oh, chip over the top from Burger Undal. It's regathered by Morne van den Berg, but it's a penalty from back at the line out. So we'll have another opportunity. This time Jordan Henderson can hopefully sort of kick a little bit closer. Yeah, it's offside there, I think, from the Griquas. So this is the perfect chance for the Lions to kick into the corner. I don't know what Rosbachano's doing. I don't think you need to kick to the corner, mate. The penalties conceded so far, the Lions 4 and the Griquas 5. Jordan Henderson finds touch on the 5 meters. So if there was ever a time for the Lions to head back, let's just go back to a rolling maul, do the basics, get over, get some points on the board. Ultimate Shot says, I'm so worried for the URC. That first third will be a bloodbath. Yeah. The solid early defense there from the Griquas. Lions, Morning Moore has been stopped in his tracks. Will they use it? They're going to have to use it here. Morning van den Berg. I think there's an advantage they're called there from Rasta. Burger Undal has a solid carry from him. Jonathan Frankie's got his hands all over that ball, but illegally so. Pick up and go. Morning van den Berg. Over. Thank you very much. Yeah, a little bit of intensity there from Morning van den Berg. He was waiting for the penalty advantage. As soon as he called it, took it quickly, and there's nobody ahead of him. Easy as you like. He goes over. 5 points to 10. We can't go to the United Rugby Championship with our current squad. We cannot. Even if you get injuries back, even if you get, Johnny Lombard back and Tian Swanepoel back and Willem Alberts back, we can't. And Vincent Tuka back. We can't go to the United Rugby Championship without some reinforcements. We've got to have more depth at lock. PJ Buerta cannot be our second choice hooker at the moment. He's just not ready. Even Morne Brandon, we can't go there with a bunch of 22-year-olds and expect to be able to compete with some world-class players. There are players in this British and Irish Lions squad who are going to be playing in the United. There are a lot of players in the British and Irish Lions squad who are going to be playing in the United Rugby Championship. So I'm all for looking at sort of the talent we've got coming through, but we can't. I'm sorry, I'm not going to the United Rugby Championship and sit there sitting there, and as Jordan Henderson misses on the conversion, we can't just go there and be like, well, we'll be competitive in 3 years' time. We're building a project. We've heard all this crap before. It just reminds me of the Lions of sort of 2009, 2010, where we just, how are the supporters supposed to take you seriously as a union if you're not taking yourself seriously? Go and add some proper players to some of these youngsters. Go and get a world-class inside center. Go and get a world-class fullback. Go and get a world-class lock. Get a world-class hooker. Go and bring Joseph Drever back. You know, if you've got Joseph Dwebe and Jakub Asaki as your two hookers, I'm smiling. I'm thinking, cool. That's a nice depth. Pino underneath that ball there from the kickoff. They've gone to the left here, the Griquas. Good to see him back, though, Pino. Very, very unorthodox wing in many ways. Quite short and stocky, and not slow by any means, but definitely not all-out pace. But he's got packs a lot of power. Does Pino? Morne van den Berg going to Jordan Hendrickson to try and clear things up. Got a nice boot to Jordan Hendrickson. And it's a horrible, horrible read from Ashlon Davids. It's run out. I think he was trying to take it quickly, but I thought he almost touched it. Output Shoshes, yeah, I agree. I think their backline will be decent, except fullback and nines. Locks are not as solid as the. I think, you know, if you just add one lock, if you put like Franco Master, for example, back into the side, and your locks are Franco Master, Rand Northnall, Ruben Scrooman, and Venom Alberts, that's not bad lock thing. But I think, you know, for Rand Northnall and Ruben Scrooman, they're solid, but they're nothing like sensational. So we just need a couple you need proper international quality in the squad. We've got 2 players who are part of the box squad, and one's just been released. So we've got 1 player who's part of the box squad. That's a horrible lineup from the Griquas. That's not enough. You can't. I mean, you're telling me you're within the top 4 sides in the country, and you've got 1 player who makes that Springbok squad. It can't be good enough. Going to up here to Stefan Angera. Test for Stian Pienaar. It's a nice take from him. I mean, even scrummers. I think Morne van den Berg's talented. I think Andre Warner is a bit of a nebulous player. I don't think he's terrible. I don't think he's brilliant. I mean, Dylan Smith's never really stepped up. Ross Cornea, I mean, it's a bit strange. You know, I think you probably have to go. I mean, it's a fantastic counter ruck from Griquas. You've won the ball back on the halfway line. If I'm the Lions, I mean, why are you not going and raiding the Sharks? You know, bringing in, I don't know, like a Kieran van Vuren. Faison Barter's going to be second choice hooker. Why aren't you going after Faison Barter? You know, they've got scrum offs everywhere. Why don't you go and say, right, Snare and Hambo, you can come and play all the time here. Or go and bring Jaden Hendrickson and partner him with his brother. Ooh, that's looks like a dangerous run. It's been knocked forward from the Griquas. Stian Manu Russ is cleaning up, goes to the right-hand side here. Burger Odendaal brings the Stian Pienaar right. Now Stian Pienaar's got a bit of space. He kicks ahead. Unger is well placed. Inside ball goes to Ashlon Davids. Davids will look for touch. He's got the 22. It's taken back though, so I don't think he can use. Yeah, it's taken back, so it's a mistake from Ashlon Davids. We'll go back all the way back to the 22 for the lineup for the Lions. But there's just so many players. I mean, for example, I keep saying that we need an inside centre. Well, you know, the Stormers have Dan du Plessis, Rix Pretorius, and potentially now Damian Willemse, all as inside centre options. So why are you not going and saying, come, Dan du Plessis or Rix Pretorius, come and be our inside centre? There are so many players. I mean, the other big units are hoarding players whilst the Lions can barely get anybody. Look, Evan van der Merwe, if that signing goes through, is a very exciting player to be able to bring in. But not really in, like, the most important positions as far as the Lions are concerned. Yeah, mistaking from Ashlon Davids. He thought he had the safety of the 22, but he didn't. So it's a nice taking option here. Jakub Asaki goes to North Market at the front of the lineout. Burger Odendaal will be the crash ball. And Odendaal's a solid player, but that's it, you know. That's a nice run off there. Sangweni off in the back of Jordan Hendrickson. Much better from the Lions. This is good, you know. Jordan takes now go himself is captain Frankie Horn. Back inside. It's a nice run by Manu Russ. Vandenberg's toss up. Steve Tole gets away. Steve Tole is through under the poles. Much, much, much better from the Lions. The intensity was there, you know, running hard, some nice offloads there, running with a bit of pace. Much, much better there from the Lions. Yeah, I mean, it's not a great tackle. Kenneth van der Merwe knows you got to do better than that. There's also Story just bumped off him, basically. Nice solid run by Manu Russ, who comes very close. And it's a bit of a lofted ball here from Morne van den Berg. And Satole just waits. Boom. Shrugs off Kenneth van der Merwe. And after that, he's straight through. You can't miss tackle, and it's one-on-one tackling. Kenneth van der Merwe gets it wrong, and Steve Satole says, thank you very much. I mean, like Dylan Smith, for example. You know, you can't let go of something like Dylan Smith and say that our reserve loose head, well, we don't really know who it's going to be. You know, I mean, I think that, you know, like Nathan Macbeth, for example, is a solid player, but it's just there's not enough players who are good enough now, I think, in this Lions squad. Those are the Lions. They've got to go for a bonus point here. Bonus point win at the moment. They haven't had a good start to the Curry Cup. It hasn't been a fantastic campaign so far. So, an easy enough kick there for Jordan Henderson, who adds the extras. But you've got to be thinking all 5 points. I'm sure she said so nice try. It just looked much better, you know. It just looked like a lot more intent there. Stian Pino under the restart there. Nice solid character take from him. He's looked good under the high ball so far, Stian Pino. Nice return from him so far. And I mean, and just like that, with 5 minutes away from the second half, Asangweni makes some good ground. Right, we know the set's 22 years, so Jordan Henderson will just pump this as far downfield as possible. David, just on the brink of the 22, goes to Whitehead. Once again, points to the skies, where he then delivers the ball. It's quite deep, and for Ewan fumbles that, and it's fallen back the side of the Griquas. So right now the Griquas can try and counter. Frankie goes on the inside, well wrapped up by Stian Pino. Messi ball, oh, good handling there from Smith. Sergio goes inside to Edwin Cater, and Edwin Cater's over. Horrible, horrible. EW for Ewan, you've got to do better. Got to do better. I mean, fantastic handling there, and I think it was a between the two legs pass there from RJ Smith. So some brilliant handling from Griquas, but it all stems for not being good enough under the high ball. On the ground there, popped in between the legs. Hanju Sergio was a nice sort of run there. Inside ball to Cater. North Knuckle manages to get hold of his shirt, but yeah, just Cater just continues the leg drag, gets away from it, and it's just too easy. It's too easy. Surely W is not the best fullback Lions have got at the moment. Well, he is at the moment, and I mean that's the. I mean, look, no Chance Swanepoel, you've got no Johnny Lombard, but it's just, you know, think about adding like Tyron Green back in the side. Tyron Green, Similane. But this is the problem, you know. I mean, Fred Zander coming off the bench at the moment. It's not good enough. It really isn't good enough. So the Greek was back in the lead. George Whitehead will have a chance to try and extend the lead to 5 points. Bad defense by the Lions. Horrible defense. Horrible defense. That looks a little better from George Whitehead. Yep, much better from him. Ashlon David is disappearing down the tunnel. I don't know if he's got an HIA, if he's got a bit of blood, but he's off at the moment. Just too easy. Oh, it's been a horrible game so far. Horrible. Right, off the restart. Solid take by RJ Smith. He had a very nice piece of handling there with the ball. It was a bad pass on the ground, and he grabbed a thing and threw the back of his legs. Yeah, penalty advantage at the moment. So Whitehead dabs over the top, and we'll go back. Oh my goodness me. Right, so just over 2 minutes to go. It's a penalty for the Griquas, so Whitehead will be able to just pump this downfield. And they actually have another go before half time. If George Whitehead was kicking better, they would actually get quite a substantial lead. And they could have been 19-0 at this stage. MJ Pulse has got himself a nice customized scrum cap. I like that. I like that. Enjoy that. Oh, that's a messy line up there, and it's been won back by Steve Sartori. So the Lions are going possession back inside their own half. Cronenberg goes to Fasaki, goes to Hendrickson. Right, they've got a lot of numbers here. Stian Pino sees a gap. Stian Pino sees a gap. Stian Pino's away from one. Inside ball. Oh, that looked like a blooming bit of a shoulder charge there. The knock on from that's a huge hit on Morne Vandenberg. It was the inside ball here from Stian Pino. And I think it was Jonathan Frankie who thought he saw a scrum half with his arms in the air. That was just live bait, and he absolutely demolished him. The nice steal here by Rand North Knuckle, gets at the top there and disrupts that line nicely. After Charles should say, I just looked at the Super Rugby Unlocked Lions squad. Marvin Ori, Alton, Lombard, Swanepoel, Similani. These players will take Lions if you notch that. Well, no Marvin Ori, but yeah, we should in theory have everybody back for United Rugby Champions. And look, as much as I wasn't a Marvin Ori, I wasn't a great Marvin Ori fan. I just think that discipline is always an issue. He does add a lot of depth, and it'd be a nice player to have. You just kind of got the impression that by letting him go, you kind of had plans to replace him, and that the plans to replace him is to that's a big scrum from the Lions. Gone down, it's available for the Griquas as the halftime hooter sounds. They've got space out here to do the Griquas. Edwin Cater's on his bicycle. Runs straight into Lofiun. It's a decent tackle by him, but the Griquas are up to the 10-meter line. Hanu Sergil. Whited inside ball to Cassenda, who's wrapped up by the Lions captain. And they've lost it forward, the Griquas, as the halftime whistle goes, and Nebo Fayun has left that behind, so it'll be a knock-on, so we'll call it halftime. Halftime at Ellis Park, it's a very, very messy contest. Pretty poor half, if I'm going to be honest, from the Lions. The Griquas had some decent moments, and they've been living off the Lions' mistakes. George Whitehead has already missed 3 penalties, so scoreline could have been a lot worse for the Lions. They do trail 17 points to 12. We'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll look at a couple of stats, stuff like that, so don't go away. In the meantime, please smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new, and I'll be back in just a few. All right, and we're back. We're back. The players are back on the field. So kickoff was almost underway for second half, waiting on the Griquas players to come out and sort themselves out. The current score here is 17 minutes to 12. I'm busy putting in the scoreboard to finish at 80 minutes. I'm having a bit of a mare today, I must admit. But yeah. She's probably been about as messy as the game. I mean, 72% possession for the Lions, who trailed the Griquas by 5 points. Territory as well, 72%. 2 tries apiece. 199 meters run by the Lions, 18 defenders beaten. 3 clean breaks from the Griquas, 44 gain line carries. Look, the stats are all in the Lions' favor. 5 offloads, 3 turnovers, 1. But they've missed. I mean, they've missed 9 out of 20 tackles apparently, according to Ultimate Rugby, which I think is a little bit wrong. But I mean, the tackling has left a lot to be desired from the Lions, to be honest. So hopefully we'll see a much better performance. The timer is on. Jordan Henshaw restart. Come to the comments now. Lions are playing right to left, and it's immediately. Oh well, there we go. Thank you very much. We'll have a look at this, I'm sure. But Burger Odendahl is over. We're gonna have a look. It's off the kickoff. It's Ras Botswana who does really, really well to contend off the kickoff. And well, look, if it doesn't come off him, then the Lions are over and they've scored their first try in literally the first couple of seconds, even faster than the Griquas try in the first half. We'll have to go wait and see. There's a very nice contestable kick here, and there's a very good kick chase from Ras Botswana. Henry Dubé said, well, guns, SRB needs to either start implementing what overseas coaches are doing to get their best out of the players, or just playing high overseas coaches. So the question is it forward or Ras Botswana? So Cameron Lindsay gets it wrong. So it goes through, it's then between Rubs and Ruan Steenkamp. It does definitely come off Ras Botswana, but the question is it forward? I don't think that's forward. I think it's pretty much come directly behind him. I mean, he's literally standing on the line, and I think the ball pretty much lands on the line itself. So this is going to be quite an interesting call. It comes off Ras Botswana. His hands, look, I mean, it's not a pass. It's whether it's a knock on. But Burger Odendahl is catching the ball pretty much in line with the lie. I don't know where they're going to go with this one. The on-field decision is a try, so they might just sort of take the easy route out. Well, they're going to look at the. I mean, guys. I mean, nothing's changing. You can keep looking at it, but that's what we've got to see. Sounds like a proper scrappy game. Yeah, Stanley. It has been very scrappy from both sides. So it's not been great. Our team needs to be at tactics. Too much running off 9, not exploiting opportunities. Well, Lion Gaming says go Lions. So also, the trials to be awarded. They're saying that they've got no conclusive evidence that the ball did go forward. Okay, so he said he reckons there was no conclusive evidence that it was knocked on, but they've got the knock on is the call. It's an interesting call. I mean, it sounds like they were pretty much saying that there was no conclusive evidence that there was a knock on, but they've said that. Right, so we start with the scrum. It will be a Lions ball. Definitely went forward again off Ruan Steenkamp and then off Ras Botswana. The TMO pretty much said that there wasn't conclusive evidence that came forward of Lions, so the Lions will feel quite aggrieved. But they've got a massive scrum here and an advantage to work with. So chance to try and get to the back. Hendricks that's a bit sloppy. Throws a big pass out wide, which goes straight to Ashland Davis. So we'll go back for the penalty. I mean, it's amazing for a Lions backline, which has been so potent over the years. They just look very unimaginative at the moment. It's a huge scrum by the Lions. If I'm the Lions, I'm probably asking for another one because that was a dominating performance. They've actually dominated most of the scrums. They gave away one penalty at the NUDBC where he went straight down. But they've definitely dominated the scrum so far. They'll go for the line with the Lions. Jordan Hendricks has done it again. He's kicked it out dead. Goodness me. Jordan Hendrickson. Well, that's a blooming meh from him. A huge scrum. They turned the scrum down, kicking towards, and they decided to kick to the corner to try and set up a line. And Jordan Hendrickson has kicked the ball dead. That's the second time he's done that. So it'll be a restart from Griquas, who go deep, and Burger Udendal, well, he's got one thing on his mind at the moment. He's going to just take up and run. We actually probably need to be a little bit more direct at the moment. Vandenberg goes to Money Russ. Good hands. McClana jumps inside, gets brought down. Up to the 10 meter now of the lines. It's early. It looked offside. Referee. It's a knock on. I'm not convinced. I think it's RJ Smith that makes the tackle. I'm not convinced he's onside, to be honest. I mean, he is very, very far up here, was RJ Smith. We'll have another scrum here, which probably not the worst result for the Lions, given the fact that their scrum has been so dominant today. But they've been their own worst enemy so far of the Lions. They haven't taken the chances when they've presented themselves. I mean, Jordan Hendricks, he's been a very exciting player. Has not had a good day today at all. Another Messi reset here. That's another huge scrum there from the Lions. Ruster, surely, yeah, it's broken. Morning Van den Berg is broken off the back of it. Trying to get away from Stefan Angaro. Runs out of space, but it's available. They've got an advantage to do the Lions with a massive scrum. That's a nice carry up there from Frankie Horn, I think. All right, what can the Lions conjure up? Burger Udendal goes himself through the gap, trying to get his hands free. Eventually brought down. Quick ball here from Morning Van den Berg. Schumann goes, it's a horrible pass, Frankie Horn to Manny Russ. So we'll go back for the penalty, I reckon. Yeah, we'll go back for the penalty. And look, to be honest, I hate doing it, but I think you're going to have to just take the 3 points. Because at the moment, you know, if Hendricks is asked to go and kick this into touch, he'll probably kick this blooming dead again. Is Ruster the ref? Yeah, it is Ruster. That's a massive scrum. I'll take another scrum. That's 2 scrums in a row that they've now scrummed them into submission. Once again, going for the corner here. This time, Jordan Hendrickson not kicking it dead. So well done, mate. Right, well, after that scrum, I'm just good to have replaced Jano Buerta. So it's a bit of a tactical switch there to try and sort out what's been happening at scrum time. Go to the back to the Lions. Solid win at the back for Frankie Horn, the captain. Here comes the more. They've got off to a bit of a running start. Greek was eventually starting to slow things down. They have to use it to the Lions. It goes to Jordan Hendrickson. Rose McClana is out over in the corner. Easy as you like. Much better. Solid maul. They had to use it. A couple of draw and defend and pass. It's pretty straightforward from the Lions. Much, much better from them. Go up to 17-17. McClana scores his 3rd Carling Cup try this season. Lions will not win if he ref. He always does his best to make sure the Lions lose. I don't think he's the reason that we haven't been doing well. Maybe a bit of a dodgy call in the first try decision, but I mean, the Lions have just been that poor today, in my opinion. It's been much better from them here. Solid more. They had to use it. And it's just running their hands, you know. Draw, pass, McClana in the corner. Easier to like, 17-17. Much better from the Lions. It was a solid line of win there from Frankie Horn. Quite a difficult kick here from Jordan Hendrickson. He's right on the touchline. He is right-footed, so, you know, you can at least try and sort of stop this from the right and try to sort of fade this inside. That's a very, very nice kick from the young man. 19 points to 17. The Lions are in the lead early on in the second half. So from the restart from Sangweni, he then takes it up for the Lions. In the pocket of EW for Yun. He won't kick it out. Into the second half. It's into the Griquas half here, and Ashton Davis carrying it up here. Bumps off 2 on the halfway line here for the Griquas. Stefan Ungura goes back to JC Null. And it's a fantastic one. And bounces straight over Jordan Hendrickson. So it's a very nice kick from the Griquas. Hendrickson didn't get touched, but it will be a Lions put him. Will be inside the 22. Good afternoon, FNDSG. Hope you're well. It's just taking far too long to get these lines done. It has to be a conference call every single time. So here comes the maul. They once again go to the back. And the Lions have got some good ascendancy here so far in the maul. It's starting to break apart. Okay, back to Jordan Hendrickson. He'll put it up. He's gone pretty deep there, so it won't be contestable. Ashton David's underneath it. It's a decent running line. Daniel Cassenda now. And it's a penalty. Idolfian is offside. Oh, my goodness. I mean, it's just the basics have been so poor at the moment. It's not been a good watch from me. To put it this way, I'm not going to be telling my kids about this game. I'm well excited for West Brom's match. My team, yeah, I mean, it'll be a nice. It should be a good opportunity for the West Brom to try and bounce back against the Cheetahs later. They're going to go for the points here. The Griquas trying to get themselves back ahead. The Cheetahs team also, probably not at full strength. Quite a few players still not available. Roscoe Speckman will be back for them hopefully in the weekend, which will be a nice boost for them. What do you think of Saturday's game? We're going to talk about that quite a lot tonight. We were live last night about it. I think it's a very, very interesting Lions side that's been named. I think it's quite a physical pack. Having Courtney Laws at 6 says a lot. It's a very good front row, and I think Luca and Dickey's is a very nice player. So watch out for him. I don't know, it'll be interesting. We're going to be live for that. We're going to be chatting a little bit about that tonight at 8:30. We're going to be talking about the fact that Gatlin is backing his decisions. He's backing the fact that he hasn't picked Josh Adams. A couple of brave calls by Warren Gatland. I'm always going to back the Box. I think it's a good Box team as well. People are complaining. I don't even know what about, but it's the standard thing about, Quokka Smith is too small and why is Elton Young's on the bench, stuff like that. I think it's a pretty good Box team, and I think the fact that if people don't realize now that that it's quite normal to have arguably your better front row on the bench for impact, then you haven't been paying attention. Speaking of front rows and impact, Yanni Duplessis and Steve Satori have made way, which means Ruan Drea and Carly Sadio on for the Lions. They'll get half an hour out here as Jordan Henderson goes off to the left. A bit deeper this time, and Johan Steenkamp has lost his footing, so under a bit of pressure, but the Griquas players pile in to help him out. Maxim Coley will carry it up for them. Stefan Angra asking for a couple of blockers here. Check for the box kick. Finds touch. It's a nice touch final for Angra. It's very good, well worked from the Griquas. They find themselves up towards the Lions. They're in 10 meters, so the Lions will have a line out. A nice sort of position to attack from. The Lions haven't looked particularly threatening when they brought their back line into play. I haven't seen too many enterprising moves, anything like that. Berger Wooden does a couple of decent runs, but I think Hendricks has struggled a little bit in this game. He's kicked the ball dead twice off a penalty, which is, it's unforgivable. They've once again gone to the back. This time they bring in Van den Berg, and it's Berger Wooden inside ball to McClana, who fumbles it but keeps going. He's still going. It's a very nice leg drive. It delays the pop pass to Moni van den Berg. Hendricks brings in Stian Pino, who's wrapping around. So it's Manny Russ. And it's rolling on the ground as the call, which I think is a little bit harsh. So Manny Russ rolling on is the call there. So it's a penalty for the Griquas. So once again, the Lions, just when they're looking threatening, just conceding a silly penalty. People says everybody doesn't give it a chance, but they're cool. They also did that in the World Cup, and what happened? Never put a block down. Exactly. I find it funny. John Dobson said Springboks are on the right track to beat the Lions after the match and performance. You shouldn't be talking about Springboks if you play like the Stormers did. Good point. What is the weather forecast Saturday? I hope it won't be too wet underfoot. I don't actually know. I mean, I got some training footage from the Lions earlier. It looked like it was quite nice. It was quite a nice day. I don't know what the forecast. We can go have a look at the moment. Griquas are up to the 10-meter line. They've gone towards the back, and it's almost been intercepted by them. So it's a messy win there. But now JC Niles down through the middle. Gone for the ball. Edwin Cater's kicked ahead. I don't know if it's a knock-on or what's going on here. I think it's a knock-on from JC Niles. Taking a massive hit. Time off here. Looks like as JC Niles jamming to the boots. A huge hit in farm. I think it's EW for Yun. Well, it looks like EW for Yun has put in a no-arms tackle. Okay, so today apparently it's a bit of rain in Cape Town. Saturday it says 18 degrees. It should be about 14 degrees when they play. It's apparently it's pretty sunny. 21 degrees on Sunday, 14 degrees on Friday. So EW for Yun here. That's not a good tackle. Well, I mean, his arm definitely wraps. So I wouldn't say it's not a no-arms tackle, but it's not a good tackle at all. This is very, very high. I mean, that looks shoulder to the head. So I think we are going to be losing somebody for at least 10 minutes here. The Grant Swartz has been raining Tuesday and Wednesday in Cape Town. I'm from Saldanha, and it's been raining all day so far. No, he definitely wraps. I think that I wouldn't say it's shoulder charge from EW for Yun on JC now. It doesn't look like a good tackle at all. There is attempt to wrap. He literally does wrap him. It's gonna be a red card, Jeff, EW for Yun, by the way. I'm not sure I can agree with there's no attempt to wrap. He did not go in like this. He literally did. I mean, his arm is around his chest when he hits it. So it's a red card for EW for Yun. It's a horrible tackle. But, I mean, I don't quite understand why you could say there's no attempt to wrap when he's literally, as he makes the challenge. Look, it's shoulder to head, and that's the red card. But the rest of his arm is sitting around the neck, around here, around the chest. So I'm not quite sure how you can say there's no attempt to wrap. But, it's a horrendous tackle. I mean, EW for Yun, I don't have much time for EW for Yun. I think he's such an average player. And he's off. So Lions are down to 10. They've been poor throughout the day, and this is just going to make life so much more difficult. Look, it is a red card. It's a horrible challenge. I just listened to the Rack podcast, and those British journalists think very little about the Bok team. Look, I think a lot of the Sackers think very little about the Lions team. Told you Rush don't like the Lions. I mean, I think it is a red card. It's a horrible tackle. It's just so blooming amateur hour by EW for Yun. But I just don't understand the interpretation of no wrap when there's definitely a wrap. I mean, it's semantics because I think it doesn't really matter. It's EW for Yun's been pretty horrible all day. And I keep saying that there's players who are not good enough playing in this Lions side. Griquas on the front foot here. There's obviously a man out wide. They've gone to the boot. And Edwin Cater has scampered through. 5-pointer for Griquas. They're up against the Lions. The Lions are up against it. I mean, it's a long way back here with 14 men. They've been playing pretty poorly the entire game. And now they're going to try and chase the game with 14 men. Very nicely worked by the Griquas. Really good more there. A couple of passes. They had the space. So they little kick over the top. Edwin Cater, all he had to do was wait for it. And then he just walked over, really. Stanley Robinson, I said, imagine the Cape Town Stadium pitch drains quickly, so if it doesn't rain for a couple of days, should be good to running on. Look, a lot of people have been slipping on the Cape Town pitch. A lot of people talking about the fact that it's quite a difficult place to play rugby. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, as I said, a lot of people have said that they haven't enjoyed the Cape Town Stadium. Look, I think it might take a while for them to get the conditions right in terms of the grass, stuff like that underfoot. It's a very nice stadium, so I can see why they would have sort of moved there. It's a much nicer facility. That's much better from George Whitehead, who adds the extra 2. So 27 points to 19. Albatross's head-to Lions going to pull the comeback. Referee performance left a lot to desire. Yellow card, not a red, was not rolling on the ground in the previous foul, so should not have been in the position. Yeah, I also thought that the Manu Russ call was quite a difficult call. I mean, he went down with a lot of momentum, and it was a quick call to say it was a penalty. So, yeah, look, I mean, it's not a good tackle by Edel for you, but I think there was definitely wrapping. So to say there was no mitigation factor, I think is pretty harsh. But all to do here from the Lions. 8 points difference now. 25 minutes to go, and I think the problem is there's not a lot to come off the bench apart from the front row in terms of players who can change a game. I mean, it's Andre Warner, Fred Zalinger, and Duncan Matz, the backline placements. Travis Gordon, who's on debut, as was FP Pulsar. So I wouldn't say there's a lot of X factors to come off the bench here for the Lions. So interesting to see what Ivan van Rooyen will do. So decent clearance here from the Griquas. The Lions will restart with a line out on the Griquas 10-meter line. We need a bit of innovation here. The Lions have every single time they've had some good moments, you know, they kind of sort of undo it. That's a very nice line at the back, and the Lions are running. They're running this maul. They're almost up to 22. That's a really, really good maul. Andrew Warner's on the field. Yakovsaki was giving it to him, but he wants to keep them all going. Right, they do use it. He goes to Berger Oudendal, and it's a horrible pass to Stian Pino. He's off the running flat start here, so he's under a lot of pressure. The ball's been ripped in the tackle, and there has been a knock-on. It's just so poor. It's horrible. I mean, after a brilliant maul, and Berger Oudendal just passes it to freaking nobody. Just bloody can the entire backline at this stage. It's been terrible, absolutely terrible. Been such an amateur performance today. I mean, Stian Pino under a lot of pressure here because it was a horrible pass. It's a little bit high by Kenny van der Merwe, who pretty much wraps him around the head. But I suppose, you know, Rasta, we can just play on with that, shall we? Well, it'll be interesting to see how these scrums go. I mean, the starting front row is having a field. I don't know why the Lions haven't used the scrum more. They really, I mean, they've been dominant. They had 2 huge scrums earlier, and they just decided not to. I mean, they could have had somebody in the bin very quickly as well for the Griquas. They've scrummed really well today. It's about the only thing they've done well today, yet they've hardly used it. Oh, dear. That's another big scrum from the Lions. It's a tight head. They've won possession here. And it'll be a penalty. Just keep going with the scrums, people. You've got the scrum ascendancy. Use the flipping thing. I mean, you just put on Carly Sardi. He's one of the best scrummagers in the country. And once again, another huge scrum victory. But now question here. So now Jordan Henshaw's going to kick to the far side. Does find touch. I mean, that's not a great... I mean, why do you have to go all the way there just to get to the 22? I mean, that's just complicating things for the sake of complicating things. So we'll once again go for the line. It's a huge scrum there from the Lions. But they've been scrumming really well. They really need to use it more. Right, go to the front of the line out chair. The rolling maul's been pretty decent so far, actually. Another solid rookie maul. They're still going. They're still going. It's broken apart a little bit. A couple of players are down, so surely that's collapsing the maul. Rasta, half of them are lying in the middle of the freaking ground. How is it a turnover ball? I mean, they're through the middle, but you've got half the Griquas pack who are lying on the ground, which was, if you watch the SAA game, was penalized a lot because people came through the middle and then went down, which then collapses them all. You can come through the middle, but you can't collapse them all. So we'll have another scrum here. It beggars belief sometimes. If I were Lions, I would scrum at every chance to get the. Yeah, well, that's the thing. You just keep scrumming and stop. This is just frustrating. It's been a horrible watch and a couple of terrible decisions. Right, Terence De Beers come on before the Griquas. Right, so we need another big scrum here to the Lions. That's a big scrum again. Big scrum again. And one advantage is turnover ball here for the Lions. It's a horrible pop out the back. So, jeez, it's amateur hour. It's another penalty. Go for another scrum. Do I have to say it louder? Go for another flipping scrum. You just won 3 scrum penalties in a row. 2 of them were they're put in. Stop going for the line. Oh my goodness. I mean, they've absolutely decimated the Griquas scrum at pretty much every single chance. So once again, we're going for the line. The Moore's been working, but I mean, we just lost. We just conceded possession from that. So if we don't score here, I'm going to lose my patience. Once again, Rasta, there's a Griquas player on the floor in the middle of the lineout. Now there's an advantage. Thank you, Rasta. Welcome to the game. Oh, they're using it, Jay. We've got an advantage to the Lions. Come now, actually make it count for a change. Pick up and go for Steven Pino. He's gone quite close. His knees on the ground. He has to release. He has to release. They have to release, Rasta. For fuck's sake, you're not watching this game. I mean, he's lying there with his knees on the ground, still being held, and Rasta's just watching him. Pick up and go there from Steven Pino. They're right on their edge here, the Lions. Still a penalty advantage. Pick up and drive is short once again. Have another pick up and drive. Another pick up and go. That looks better. Slightly short, slightly short. Now they're over. Had they got grounding? Had they got grounding? It's available. Short is the call from Rasta. Now they pop it up and go. Oh, that's a steamrolling run. Goodness me. Well, the Lions score a try. That's much better. I don't know who that was, but he just absolutely steamrolled Terence De Beers. It's Andrea. Jeepers me. Well, better. I can't understand why you're not going for the scrum more. The Ultra Trust Cash, what do you think? You send a water boy down there and get close to 14, even 13 men. I mean, it's literally been, I think it's about 4 or 5 scrum penalties so far in this game. And yet we've never, ever gone for the scrum from a penalty. I don't understand it. That more, almost once again, the claim was through the middle. Jeepers, they just ran over Terence De Beers there. Sanguini and Andrea. You can see what it means to Sanguini, who's really pumped up for it. If the Lions sit back, Jordan Henderson can hopefully add the extra 2 and make it a 1-point game. But you've got to start using the scrum. It's the biggest weapon we've got. Important kick here from Jordan Henderson. Yep, straight through the middle. No issues there. 26 points to 27. We've got a bit of a game on our hand in the last 16 minutes. The Lions down to 14. We managed to hit one back. Right, game on. 15 minutes to go. Can the Lions do something special? That's their bonus point try, by the way. So they've got 1 point in the game. The question is, can they try and find some points and get all 5? Right, and that was Hendricks' last contribution. It'll be Fred Zalinger who will see out the last 60 minutes. Duncan Matthews is on for Steven Pino as well. And his first contribution is a solid win off the restart there, right up against the touchline. Sanguini this time carrying out. They've lost set to 22 of the Lions. You've got to keep the ball in hand here, really. Warner will go for the box kick here. Duncan Matthews will chase this. This needs to be contestable. It's deep. Ashton Davis underneath it, so he's going to carry it himself. Stumbles a little bit. And he's almost through his WATCHALONG. Davis is eventually brought down, but it's been popped up to Daniel Casenda, so the Griquas are on the attack here at the moment. This is what I said, keep the ball in hand, or I'll at least make it competitive. At the moment, we're just kicking possession away. Kenny van der Merwe goes out wide. They've got numbers. You want to think up inside. They see Nell. The Griquas on the front foot here, almost the 22. There's space on the wide, there's space on wide, there's space on wide. That's forward, surely. Edwin Cato, has he scored? Well, they've given it. I thought they were going to check the button touch. We're not having a check here, Rasta. They're not having a check here. Apparently the Griquas have scored. I want to check that pass and I want to check the grounding. You're showing me there wasn't a foot and touch. Well, that's what I'm saying. Rasta, can you freaking get in the game? We spent half an hour looking at the knock-on in the first play, and there we don't even look. I don't know if we had a look there. Well, I don't know. The try stood. I don't think they had a look. Even the commenters are saying they would have liked to have had a look at that last pass. Well, Rasta's happy with it. So as long as Rasta's happy with it. But also, the Lions, why are we kicking possession away? If you're going to kick it up there, make it competitive. Put it up and under where we can actually chase down. Instead, let's just kick possession nice and deep and allow them all the time in the world to come up with an attack down to 14 men. Game management is horrible, horrendous. It's a very good kick from Tez to be back on the bench. So 34 points to 26. I can't understand why we don't check that. Why wasn't that checked? I hate blaming refs, but this really has been an absolute horrendous performance from Rasta Rasavenga. To think that we spent all that time where the TMO said there was no knock-on for the Lions, disallowed that try, went back for the scrum. There, a very, very questionable forward pass, and we don't even check. Duncan Matthews let this bounce, under a bit of pressure out of the Lions. Right, now what can he do? Brings in Fred Zalinger. Fred Zalinger now kicks ahead, playing a bit of a territory game. And it's going to run too far and go over the dead ball line. Just, for sakes, guys. Just so poor. We restart for the Griquas. I mean, we've got 11 minutes to go, and I mean, I think the Lions are just going to throw away it here. They've had some terrible calls so far, I think. I mean, here come the bench. We've got PJ Burter, which doesn't excite me much. Travis Gordon on debut. Nice to see what he can do. Right, Aranya's on. Right, so the Lions, what can they do from the counter off the restart chat? Birger Uendal goes himself, gets up to the halfway line. That's better handling. Ras McCliners away. What can he do? Gets away, still going. He needs the support. Counter ruck's good, man. Oh, well, Griquas have turned it around. Tunis de Beer, outside ball to Daniel Casenda. Casenda, what can they do? Can somebody tackle him? Yeah, Sibasizo Sangweni can bring him down. They've got numbers out wide to the Griquas. This will be a try. Edwin Cater has got all the time in the world. You know what, Lions? Piss off. Genuinely. You know, this is what happens. You want to sit here with absolutely no addition, stuff like that. The entire game, you've had scrum ascendancy and never ever used it to try and use the advantage. Griquas are over, and this is good. You know what? Actually, the Lions actually wake up and start taking themselves seriously as a bloody union. Because really, I mean, how can we have sat there the entire game? We've kicked the ball away. They've scored a try. We make a good break. There's no follow-up play. We've scrummed really well. We don't take the scrums. You deserve to get beaten if you're going to play like this. Really, it's exactly like the Pumas' first game. You know, you respond and you beat the Western Province. And we think, oh, we've got something special here, and then you get outclassed there by the Griquas. And even with the calls that have gone against the Lions, I think they have some. I think Russ just had a shocker. But really, it's a union that's just disgraceful at the moment. It really is a disgrace. As Lions said, Lions leadership nowhere, not asking the ref for the right questions, not putting pressure via the scrum. The list goes on. Geez, at this point, it's better to just throw the ball forward and get scrum penalties. No, we wouldn't take the scrum, you know. I mean, at this stage, it would be. It's a disgrace. It really is a disgrace. This is a union that was in the Super Rugby final in 2018. 17. 18? 16, 17, 18. Yeah, it was 18. Super Rugby final 18, being thumped by the Griquas and the Pumas 2021. And we can't say that there's that many players missing. There's one player in the box squad. One now, we have one Sila Similani back, but that's it. So leadership, it's been a complete farce of a game so far. Really, really disappointed. I've been having a lot of issues with the Lions for a while now, and this is just sort of the icing on the cake. Well, it's a nice physical defense there from the Lions. But I mean, with 9 minutes to go, they need to score a couple of tries quickly. Sanguini, well, can you do this all by himself? That's better. PJ Porter's making a good gap. That's better for the Lions. Better. Oh, if you can get a pass away, it could have been over. Well, I mean, there's just no time at the moment. You're going to have to score, what, 3 tries in the next blooming 9 minutes. Oh, that's straight up. Not quite sure he's actually gone for that, Rasta. Well, it's a knock on there. I'm not quite sure it's actually a genuine attempt to play the ball, but I'm not asking for anything at the moment. I mean, we wouldn't get a blooming penalty if the guy took the guy's head off. And Burger is now limped off. That's the last thing we need, so we're going to have to put somebody back on here. Probably Jordan Henderson and move Red Langley into inside center. Oh, we look at a clean out here. Oh, we're looking at Lions clean out. Of course we are. So we're looking at a dangerous clean out from the Lions here. Rasta, why don't you just call the game early? How about this knock on? Is it a genuine intercept here? You see, that's a freaking... I mean, if that's forward from... I mean, that is just a clear knock on Martinez to be. He just throws his hand up. How is that not a deliberate knock on? How is that not a penalty? I don't understand that. You can just throw your hand up with the ball and give away a knock on. That's literally the definition of a deliberate knockdown. He wasn't trying to intercept the pass at all. Oh my living. We're going all the way back to the kickoff. This officiating has been appalling. We've literally gone all the way back to the kickoff to see what's going on here. Oh my living. We've gone back 4 meters. I might just stop the stream and then just turn it off. I don't even see what the point of watching this is. We've just gone back about 4 minutes to go try and find an infringement. Okay, so Sangweni's made the break here, and Duncan Matthews is coming in for the clean out. As Tienes to be a goes down, then Tienes to be a stands up. Well, he almost pulls out of that anyway. So Tienes to be a goes down as if he's about to commit to the ruck, and then pulls out. Duncan Matthews is coming in to clean out, and then pulls out of the challenge, which is why I think it's a head collision. I mean, by the time there's a collision, oh, goodness me, Rasta. Why don't we just go, you know what? Just stop the game. Let's go back and let's watch everything at 50%. Let's go try and find some infringements. Let's go dish out some cards. Let's go find some penalties. Let's get some retrospective points. Oh, fuck off, Rasta. Well, it looks like we're going to have another person in the bin here. Yeah, literally, as the commentator said, backing out the context was Tienes to Beer. Alright, so it's a mitigating factor, so it's only a yellow card. Rasta, blow the fucking game. Really? Really? This has been an absolute disgrace of a performance. To go back for something which happened 2.5 minutes earlier. Just go back and watch the entire game at this rate. I'm pretty sure you missed a forward pass in that 30-minute. Can we just stop quickly, go back, and maybe we'll just play from there? Maybe we can wind the clock back and play the entire game again. This is farcical. It genuinely is farcical. We've been complaining about the standard of refereeing in this country for a long time, saying that there's no rhythm in the game, that there's not enough time being played in rugby matches. And now we're going back, 3-4 minutes back and finding things to penalize. If you're not good enough to catch it on as it goes, then that's your fault. But to sit there all the single time and go back and find things to look at, it's disgraceful. We can't play rugby like this. This is an absolute farce. And I'm not saying that the Griquas wouldn't have won, and I'm not saying that the red. I mean, I think the red card probably a yellow card. I think the fact that they talk about no arms wrapped, and I'd like to go back and actually freeze and question what is it wrapping, but. Really, this has been an atrocious refereeing performance. It's been a horrible spectacle. After sitting there saying at the beginning of the game that the Curry Cup's been such a nice watch and all it's been really good contests and stuff like that, this has been an absolute disgrace of a match. I mean, even the call there of the knock-on where Tienes to Beer, I mean, it would have been ruled out because we have to go back and half and find something wrong. But that should have been a penalty, and they were going to give a knock-on. No, it's another penalty. I mean, what's the penalty count been here, Rasta? I'm interested to see what Ivan Van Rooyen is going to have to say in this post-match, because I would be absolutely fuming. From the start of the second half, every single call has gone against the line. They literally had a try in the first 15 seconds where the assistant referee said there's no conclusive evidence that there's that the ball has gone forward. But Rasta has decided that he couldn't see it first time. He couldn't see it in real time. In fact, it was actually an on-field decision try. But he's decided now, though, that it was a knock-on. Disgrace. It's games like this that just make me not even want to watch next time. I've got so many better things to do than to spend 2 hours watching something like this. I really do. I'll tell you what, if I see a similar thing in the Cheetahs versus Western Province, I'm just going to cut midstream and just take the day off, because it really has been a horrendous performance from Vasta Wenger and his assistants. We cannot sit there going back 2-3 minutes all the time to try and find something that's wrong. If you see something that happens, then you got to make a call. If you don't see it, you can't go back and review the entire game. It's ridiculous. The Lions have won a line-up jail from the penalty, by the way. It was Griquas not rolling away, and it's been knocked down by Ruandrea. Bloody fridge. Fred Zalinger. I mean, Andrea, not even expecting the pass, he just chucked it into his gut. 8 handling errors by the Griquas, 5 from the Lions so far. I mean, I'd love to see what the penalty count is. But this is such a dangerous game for the future of SA Rugby, because it just, if you're going to officiate like this, no one's going to be one to get involved here. Absolutely no one. I don't even want to watch the next game at this stage. It's just, I'm just so pissed off that what could have been a decent game has been marred by some horrendous officiating. Another scrum penalty. It's amazing. I wonder what would have happened if the Lions had actually used the scrum the entire game. Just drawing what happened. Well, we've seen a red card for a high tackle where there was no wrapping, despite the fact that on the freeze frame his arm is sitting over here. Look, I think, I can almost go with the red card because it's head-on-head collision. I think probably a yellow card would have been fair. I just don't understand how you can watch it and you can see it's a shot. It's not a good tackle. It's a very high tackle. I'm 100% to admit it. But as he's hitting him, his arm is literally sitting over here on the player, and yet they're saying there's no attempt to wrap. For me, no attempt to wrap means you've done this. That is no attempt to wrap. Not this. And then we've got a yellow card because we decided after a whole bunch of play that we thought that there was an infringement like 2.5 minutes. We literally had to wind back to the kickoff and watch the entire section of play for about 2 minutes to try and find where this infringement was for the second yellow card. In the first 10-15 seconds of the Lions of this first half, the Lions had a try disallowed where Ruster Wenger went against the TMO, who said there was no deliberate knock-on, and ruled the trial. It's been an absolute ridiculous game. We barely had any rugby. We spent the majority of the time listening to Ruster trying to find penalties and stuff. Even in the first half, the Greeks were complaining about the fact that the communication was bad and a couple of the law interpretations were poor. Oh, yeah, it's a decent run by Manny Russ. Manny Russ, can he do himself? Up to the 5 meter. No matter what, the Lions is really bad. Yeah, the Lions haven't been good. It doesn't matter, but that's not the point. The fact of the matter is it's not even about the result at the moment. It's about the spectacle of the game. Is that what we want to see in SA Rugby? Because it really has been a shocking display of refereeing. Surely West Province can't be any worse. No, it doesn't get any worse than this. It really can't get any worse than this. Penalty advantage, run the hands. Well, Travis Gordon will have a try on Currie Cup debut. He won't really celebrate it nor really remember it because it's too little too late. It's just been a horrible, horrible watch. What a disaster. What a way to start to get the day going. Double header. We'll be doing a live show tonight about the British and Irish Lions. I've got no water at home. This has just been a disaster of a day. Trying to go get some clothes. Couldn't go get clothes this morning. I'm having a stinker of a day. I suppose I should add the points. Oh, what a day. What a day. What a day. Now, I thought the commentator said that he got the kick, but the scores remain 31. So I'm a bit confused. 9:33. Yeah, I also thought he got the kick. I'm a bit confused about what's going on there. I don't think the scoreboard's wrong. Well, it's horrendous. I mean, that restart just summed it up. I mean, Tinas DB has basically just chipped it about 2 meters. The Lions are on the attack. Can they get a losing bonus point? This is what they're playing for. Oh, and it's been knocked forward again by bloody Rue Andre. Of course it hasn't. We'll go back for an advantage for high tackle. Totem Commander, you cannot say that the Griquas dominated all 80 minutes. I mean, look at the possession stats. Look at all the stats and stuff like that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. The Griquas have definitely been the better team. They've definitely been the better team. But, you know, like we're talking about a team that's down to 13 men. Well, unfortunately, the Bulls-Sharks game won't be better because it's been cancelled. There's no Bulls-Sharks game tonight because of the safety concerns. Penalty advantage here for the Lions. Yeah, get ourselves a consolation. Probably slightly pick up and go. Lions are really close here. That'll be a penalty. Well, surprised to hold it. They haven't updated the score for 33. Nobody has said 33, so I don't know if the commentators got it wrong. But no score things got it at 33. So at this stage, I'll only update the clock once I've got confirmation there for the score. Another pick up and driving more here from Lions. Been collapsed there. No advantage, so the Lions will use it here. Manny Russ. And it's knocked on. That's the game. Well, Russell Wenger, I think that is probably... Departure. No one has changed their score to 33. I don't know why you're asking me to change it. They haven't changed it. I've checked Supersport and everything like that. No one is saying 33. So I don't know if the commentators got it wrong, but I'm not going to change my scoreboard to reflect something different to what the official scoreboard that they're giving there is. So, you know, if they update it at the afterwards, then cool, but I can't update a score from what I'm not seeing. But that's it. That was a horrible, horrendous contest. One of the worst games I've ever watched, if I'm going to be very honest. It's such a worry that is sort of the standard of officiating. The Griquas deserve to win. They deserve their bonus point victory. 100%. Let's not take anything away from the Griquas. But the officiating there was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. There was no flow to that game. It has been an absolutely appalling. I mean, that game almost took 2 hours. It's literally taken 1 hour and 50 to play that game. I mean, it's really not good enough. It really is not good enough. It's got to change. We've got to see something better, because if that's what I'm going to see in the Currie Cup, I'm not going to watch it, and that's just a shame, because the previous Currie Cup games have been so good. We've had so many good encounters in the Currie Cup. But what we saw today was a match where there was just no rhythm, poor officiating, where what they said didn't line up with what they called, where they were going back and finding things that weren't there. It's such a dangerous precedent to set there. And, you know, if Russell Wenger ever watches this, you understand that you just gave us a horrible, horrible match to watch. And if you don't do better, then sorry. I hate blaming the referee. I'm one of the people that try to go as far as possible to not even mention the referee, because I think it's such an easy cop-out to go after the referee. And I'm not saying that he's the reason the Lions lost today, but he's the reason that game was a horrible, horrible watch. It really was. So, yeah, thank you to everybody who's kept me company. We'll be back live in about 20 minutes for Western Province versus Cheetahs, where hopefully we'll see a much better clash, because today that was just a waste of my time, to be perfectly honest. But thank you for spending your time with me. Smash like a video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be live very soon, and I'll chat to you guys then.